Hello, good morning to all. So today's class we are going to discuss about the topic p block elements. So in a periodic table, group 13 to 18 elements are nothing but a p block elements. So periodic table ಅಲ್ಲಿ group 13 ಇಂದ 18 ವರೆಗೆ ಇರುವಂತ elements ಅನ್ನು ನಾವು p block elements ಅಂತ ಕರೀತೇವೆ. So in this class we are going to discuss about group 13 elements. So here the p block elements will have a general electronic configuration that is ns2 np1 to 6. So p block elements ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದರ ಜನರಲ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನಿಕ್ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಗರೇಷನ್ ns2 np1 to 6. p ಆರ್ಬಿಟಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 1 ಇಂದ 6 ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಫಿಲ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು p block elements ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೇವೆ. So in a periodic table, group 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18 group elements are belongs to p block. The 13 group elements have the general electronic configuration ns2 np1, whereas 14 group elements having ns2 np2, 15 group elements having ns2 np3, 16 group elements ns2 np4 configuration. The 17 group elements are having the configuration of ns2 np5, whereas the 18 group are nothing but inert elements will have the general configuration ns2 np6. So these are the general electronic configuration of p block elements. So p block elements ಆಗಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅದರ general electronic configuration ns2 np1 to 6 ಇರಬೇಕು. So here we are discuss about the 13 group elements. These 13 group elements are also called as a boron family elements. ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ 13 group elements ಅನ್ನ boron family elements ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೇವೆ. So the elements present in a 13 group are boron, aluminum, gallium, indium and a thallium. So these are all elements present in a 13 group elements. I repeated once: boron, aluminum, gallium, indium and a thallium. These are all 13 group elements. These 13 group elements have some similar physical and chemical properties. So in that, first we are discussing about their atomic radii. The atomic and ionic radii of 13 group elements are smaller than the corresponding elements of a alkali and alkaline earth metals. So 13 group elements igu mattu alkali mattu alkaline earth metals, those are all s block elements. ಗೆ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ 13 group elements in atomic ಮತ್ತು ionic radii smaller ಇರ್ತದೆ. This is because on moving from left to right in a period, the effective nuclear charge increases and the outer electrons are pulled more strongly towards the nucleus. This results in a decrease in atomic size. So while go along the period, the atomic and ionic radii will decreases. On moving down the group, both atomic and ionic radii expected to increase due to the addition of new electron shell with each succeeding elements. So down the group ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಶೆಲ್ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅದರ ಅಟೋಮಿಕ್ ಮತ್ತು ಅಯೋನಿಕ್ ರೇಡಿಯೈ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ. ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್, ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಷನ್ ಇದೆ, ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಗ್ಯಾಲಿಯಮ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ GA stands for gallium is less than that of aluminum due to the presence of poor shielding 10d electrons in a gallium. So ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಗ್ಯಾಲಿಯಮ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ, so that gallium have the atomic number 31 with the electronic configuration argon 3d10 3d10 4s2 and 4p1 is the electronic configuration of gallium. ಅಲ್ಲಿ d orbital ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ ಪುವರ್ ಶೀಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇಂದ. ಅದರ ರೇಡಿಯಾಯಿ ಅಲ್ಯೂಮಿನಿಯಂಗಿಂತ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ionization enthalpy. So you all know about the ionization enthalpy concept. So here first ionization enthalpy of the element of group 13 are less than those of the element present in the group 2 in the same period. This is because the removal of a p electron is much easier than a s electron, and therefore the first ionization enthalpy, that is denoted as delta H1 of the elements of group 13 are lower as compared to the corresponding element of group 2. On moving down the group 13 from boron to aluminium, all the first ionization enthalpy decreases due to increase in atomic size and a screening effect, which outweigh the effect of increased nuclear charge. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅಯನೈಸೇಷನ್, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಅಯನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಎಂಥಾಲ್ಪಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅಯನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಎಂಥಾಲ್ಪಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಔಟರ್ ಇಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನಿಕ್ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಗರೇಷನ್ ಅನ್ನು ನೋಡಬೇಕು. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ NS2 NP1, ಪಿ ಆರ್ಬಿಟಲಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದೇ ಇಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಈಸಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಇಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನನ್ನು ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದ್ರದ್ದು ಅಯನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಎಂಥಾಲ್ಪಿ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬಂದವಾಗ ಶೀಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್ ಟು ರಿಮೂವ್ ದ ಇಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ inner orbital. There is discontinuity expected in the ionization enthalpy values between aluminum to gallium and between indium to thallium due to the inability of D and F electron, which have low screening effect, to compensate the increase in a nuclear charge. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 13 ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ಬೋರಾನ್ ಟು ಅಲ್ಯೂಮಿನಿಯಂ ಒಂದು ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಗ್ಯಾಲಿಯಮ್ ಟು ಇಂಡಿಯಮ್, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಮ್ ಟು ಟ್ಯಾಲಿಯಮ್, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಪ್ರೆಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಡಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಎಫ್ ಆರ್ಬಿಟಲ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್. Next one, electronegativity. Down the group, the electronegativity first decreases from boron to aluminium and then increases due to it is due to the variation in the atomic size of the element. ಸೊ ಅಟೋಮಿಕ್ ಸೈಜಲ್ಲಿ ವೇರಿಯೇಷನ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅದರ ಇಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋನೆಗೆಟಿವಿಟಿ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ವೇರಿಯೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. Next one is their physical properties. That first one, due to strong crystalline lattice, boron has a high melting point. Rest members of this family have a low melting point. ಸೊ 13 ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ಬೋರಾನಿನ ಮೆಲ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟು ಹೈ ಇರ್ತದೆ. rest of that are having a low melting point. Second one, boron is extremely hard and black colored solid and non-metallic in nature. Third one, other members of this family are soft metals with low melting point and high electrical conductivity. So these are the physical properties of a 13 group elements. Along with that, their oxidation state. The first two elements, that is boron and aluminium, show only +3 oxidation state in the compound, but the other elements in this group, that is gallium, indium and thallium, also exhibit +1 oxidation state in addition to +3 state, that is they show a variable oxidation state. As we move down the group, the stability of +3 oxidation state decreases while that of +1 oxidation state progressively increases. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೇಷನ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟನ್ನು ನೋಡುವಾಗ ಬೋರಾನ್ ಮತ್ತು ಅಲ್ಯೂಮಿನಿಯಮು ಸ್ಟೇಬಲ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೇಷನ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ +3. ಅದರ್ ದೆನ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಗ್ಯಾಲಿಯಮ್, ಇಂಡಿಯಮ್, ಥ್ಯಾಲಿಯಮ್ ಏನಿದಲ್ವ ಅದು ಅಲಾಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ +3 +1 ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೇಷನ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟನ್ನು ತೋರಿಸ್ತದೆ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ಲಿ ಫಿಲ್ಡ್ ಆರ್ಬಿಟಲ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಒಂದು ಇಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನನ್ನು ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ಪಿ ಆರ್ಬಿಟಲಿಂದ 2 ಇಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಎಸ್ ಆರ್ಬಿಟ್, ಟೋಟಲ್ +3 ವೇರಿಯೇಬಲ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೇಷನ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟನ್ನು ಗ್ಯಾಲಿಯಮ್, ಇಂಡಿಯಮ್, ಥ್ಯಾಲಿಯಮ್ ತೋರಿಸ್ತದೆ. ಬೋರಾನ್ ಮತ್ತು ಅಲ್ಯೂಮಿನಿಯಂ +3 ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೇಷನ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟನ್ನು ಎಕ್ಸಿಬಿಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ಸಮ್ ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಬೋರಾನ್. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬೋರಾನಿಂದ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗುವಂಥ ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್ಸನ್ನು ನೋಡೋದಿದ್ರೆ, ಬೋರಾಕ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್. This borax is a white crystalline solid Borax is a white crystalline solid which one having the formula Na2B4O5OH 4 times 8H2O, or you can write or Na2B4O7 dot 10H2O. So this one is also a composition of a borax acid. So that is Na2B4O7 dot 10H2O. So it will contains tetranuclear units, that is B4O5OH4. This one tetranuclear units, that is B4O5OH4, and it will contains a sodium compound. The overall composition is this one Na2B4O7 dot 10H2O. Borax dissolved in a water to give an alkaline solution, that is Na2B4O7 plus 7H2O. It will produces NaOH plus H3BO3. So this H3BO3 is nothing but a orthoboric acid. H3BO3 is nothing but a orthoboric acid. On heating, borax first loses a water molecule and swell up. On further heating, it turns into a transparent liquid which solidifies. It will give a borax bead. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ದಿಸ್ ಬೋರಾಕ್ಸ್ ಕಂಪೌಂಡನ್ನು ಹೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಆವಾಗ ಅದು ಸೋಡಿಯಂ ಮೆಟಾಬೋರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಫರ್ದರ್ ಹೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದವಾಗ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ ದ orthoboric acid. So this borax is used as a water softener and a cleaning agent. ಈ ಬೋರಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ವಾಟರ್ ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತು ಕ್ಲೀನಿಂಗ್ ಏಜೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ಆರ್ಥೋಬೋರಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ H3BO. Orthoboric acid is nothing but H3BO3, or you can write BOH thrice, both are same. The boric acid can be prepared by the acidification of aqueous solution of borax. So here Na2B4O7 is nothing but borax. When it is reacted with 2 molecules of HCl and a 5 molecule of H2O, it will produces H3BO3 plus NaCl. And similarly you can use the another one acid, that is borax. When it is treated with the sulfuric acid with in presence of 5 molecules of H2O, it will produces H3BO3 plus Na2BSO4. It can be also prepared by the hydrolysis of boron compound. Boron trichloride, when it is treated with the water molecule, it will produces H3BO3 plus 6HCl or B2H6. This B2H6 is nothing but a diborane. So when it is reacted with the 6 molecule of water, it will produces H3BO3 plus 6H2O. The physical properties of boric acid. So this boric acid is a white crystalline solid. Second one, it is a soft soapy in touch. It is sparingly soluble in a cold water but fairly soluble in a hot water. And the uses of boric acid is, it is used in the manufacture of heat resistant borosilicate glazes, and it is used as a preservative for milk and foodstuffs, and it is used in the manufacture of enamels and glazes in pottery. So this one is the structure of boric acid. So this one is the structure of boric acid. The boric acid structure is, that is HOBOHO, like that. So try to remember this structure. Okay, this one is the structure of a boric acid, the dotted lines represent the hydrogen bond. Here is the dotted line, see. So this indicates the hydrogen bond. So these are all the hydrogen bond formation. The solid bond is nothing but the actual bond of that particular molecule. The boric acid composition is H3BO3. So each boron atom is attached to H3BO3 complex. So you can see here. So this one is one boric acid complex. B is at the center, so it is attached to 3 oxygen and 3 hydrogen. H3BO3 is a composition of boric acid. So this one is a one bulkier boric acid molecule. Next one is diborane B2H6. The series of compounds of boron with a hydrogen is known as a diboranes. Diborane is prepared by the reduction of boron trifluoride with lithium aluminum hydride in diethyl ether. So here is the preparation of a diborane composition, that is boron trifluoride. When it is treated with the lithium aluminum hydride, so you will get this diborane molecule plus lithium fluoride and aluminum trifluoride as a side product. So in laboratory, this diborane is prepared by the oxidation of sodium borohydride with iodine. So this is the common method, and in laboratory, so you can prepare the diborane by using sodium borohydride, that is NaBH4 with the iodine. You will get the diborane plus 2Na plus H2. So this one is the laboratory method for the preparation of a diborane. Industrial method for the preparation. On industrial scale, diborane can be prepared by reduction of a BF3, boron trifluoride. So here this boron trifluoride, when it is treated with the sodium hydride, you will get the B2H6 at 450 Kelvin and sodium fluoride as a side product. So these are the three different methods for the preparation of a diborane. So this one is the first method, here second method, this one is third method. In laboratory this method is used. So in industrial scale this one is the method. In common we are using boron trifluoride with the lithium aluminum hydride. In presence of a diethyl ether, you will get the diborane complex. Next one is physical properties. That first one, diborane is a colorless, highly toxic gas with a boiling point of 180 Kelvin. Second one, diborane catches fire spontaneously upon exposure to air. Third one, higher boranes are spontaneously flammable in air. Next one is chemical properties of a diborane. So in that first one, boranes are readily hydrolyzed by water to form a boric acid, that is B2H6 plus H2O. It will produces BOH thrice plus 6H2O. Here is the reactions. And second one, it burns in oxygen involving an enormous amount of heat, that is diborane. When it is burned in presence of oxygen, it will produces B2O3 plus 3H2O with the liberation of large amount of heat. And next one is reaction with Lewis base. Diborane on treatment with Lewis bases undergo cleavage reaction to form boranes, which then reacts with the Lewis bases to form a adducts. So here is the reactions. When diborane, when it is treated with NME3, that is a Lewis base kind of a reactions, it will produces BH3 dot NME3. Or when diborane reacted with 2 moles of carbon monoxide, it will produces BH3 dot CO. So these are the reactions of a diborane with a Lewis base. Next one is structure of diborane. So the diborane have the composition this one B2H6, means each boron atom is shared with a 3 hydrogen. So here one boron and here one boron atom. The each boron atom is shared with a 3 hydrogen. Here H, one more H, 3 hydrogen for one boron atom. Again the 3 hydrogen set for another one boron atom. So it will form a bond like this. So this hydrogen is belongs to this particular boron here. So this one is the diborane structure. So this one becomes diborane structure. Next we will move on to some reactivity of a 13 group elements towards air. Boron is unreactive in a crystalline form. Aluminium forms a very thin oxide layer on the surface of which protect the metal from further attacks. Amorphous boron and aluminium metals on heating in air form B2O3 and Al2O3 respectively. With dinitrogen at a high temperature they form nitrides also. So here E stands for this. This E stands for a 13 group element. When it is reacted with oxygen, it will produces E2O3, and the elements that is boron or aluminium, when it is reacted with the dinitrogen, it will produces En types where E is a element. The nature of the oxides varies down the group. Boron trioxide is a acidic and reacts with a basic oxide forming a metal borate, whereas aluminium and gallium oxides are amphoteric. Amphoteric means it will have the character both acid as well as a base, and those of indium and thallium are basic in their properties. Second one, reactivity towards acids and alkalis. Boron does not react with the acids and alkalis even at a moderate temperature, but aluminium dissolves in a mineral acids and aqueous alkalis and thus shows amphoteric character. So here aluminium dissolve in a dilute HCl and liberating a dihydrogen. When aluminium, when it is reacted with a dilute HCl, it will produces Al3 plus 6Cl minus with the liberation of hydrogen. However, the concentrated nitric acid renders aluminium passive by forming a protective oxide layer on the surface. The concentrated nitric acid aluminium surround protective oxide layer ಅನ್ನ formation ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. It won't further react. Aluminium also react with the aqueous alkali and it liberates the hydrogen. When aluminium reacted with the sodium hydroxide or a potassium hydroxide, here we are consider sodium hydroxide with a 6 molecule of water, means aqueous sodium hydroxide, it will produces tetrahydroxoaluminate Na plus AlOH4 4 minus plus 3H2O. So these are the reactivity of a boron and aluminium with the acids and alkalis. Next one is reactivity towards halogen. The 13 group elements react with a halogen, it will form the corresponding trihalide complex. That is, E is the elements, then it is reacted with a halogen, it will produce a EX3, except thallium. Except thallium, other 13 group elements are react with a halogen, it will produce a corresponding halide complex. Here halogens are fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine. Next one is uses of boron and aluminium. The boron fibers are used in making bulletproof vest and light composite material for aircraft. Next, it is used in a industrial purpose for preparation of borax or a boric acid, and the aluminium is a bright silvery white metal with a high tensile strength. It forms a alloys with a copper, manganese, magnesium, silicon, zinc, etc. So these aluminum pipes are used, tubes are used, wires, plates. So these are the uses of a boron and a aluminum. So in this class we discussed about the 13 group element. Here is one question for you. So this is a boric acid. You know that the boric acid have the composition H3BO3 or orthoboric acid. The question is, why boric acid considered as a weak acid? Why this boric acid, sorry, why this boric acid is considered as a weak acid? You have to answer for this question. Thank you.